Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar. We do this, sorry, it's the New York session. The daily webinar is over. We do that an hour ago. This is the London session. My apologies. Yeah, let's go. Let's start. If you're watching this video for the first time, please go watch some more of my videos, right? So you would understand what I actually do. If you don't know who I am, well, it's at the top of the video thing. It's Anil Mangal. You're going to find it. And the method is not as simple as it looks. Let me come straight forward and say this is not as simple method as it looks. It's not simply I'll buy any flag I see. You have to understand where you are in the pattern, whether there's a risk to reward in that trade. What are the bigger distance where's the bigger pattern? Where do you expect this to move to? Right? If you understand all of that, then you start to, trading becomes easy. It gives you a very good advantage of how you can get in and get out of trade when they don't go. Because if you understand that you're expecting this pattern and it's not making that, you would take actions to get out of the trade before it hits your stop loss. Very few trades ever hit our stop losses these days. That doesn't mean we're not getting losing trades. We're just taking them really small. When the wins go, they go. Winning trades are easy. For everybody, a winning trade is a winning trade. It goes to your target. You don't have to worry about it. What you have to worry about is the bad trades that are keeping your account from not growing, right? It's not none of you can find a winning trade. The problem is most of you don't know how to manage your bad trades. And that's what we teach you to do here. So if you want to join us, send me a Skype message. It's somewhere in the description, right? Send me a message to Skype. You get a very quick answer. If you send me to Facebook, it will take you about a couple of days to get answer because I don't check Facebook often. I don't check email often. Send me in Skype, the record will be there, so it's easy for me to reply to you and for us to keep a conversation going. Because the only thing I use Skype for is for this purpose, nothing else, right? Everybody else uses WhatsApp and all kind of thing. I think Skype is good in that. I know that if it's a Skype message, it's from a trader. That's it. Okay, let's go. Enough of that. Let's move on. So let's start with the dollar index. Dollar index. So remember what we said yesterday, we're not buying the dollar index. Although we see that pattern, we said we're not buying it. We're not buying the dollars because of where it is and the structure we looked at. And there is a chance that if you remember how I had it like this. I had the dollar index and I told you this thing could drop really fast sometimes. Well, depending on whether you were there, I don't know whether you get any trade to the downside, not really. But now we can take this off. We were looking this morning when we came in the room before all of this happened. There was a small flag forming here. So our thought process, well, this could actually go back into there, even if it's going to come down, or it could go make a new high and come down. So that flag was valid until it comes lower. So those who were in my traders who were there this morning got the exact information. They're coming. They know we're supposed to be here. They don't want me to close the trading room. So thanks, Vic. I think that's not. Those are people who are looking for trouble. Come on, they know we're in this room. Why they go there and they do that? What's the purpose of going there separately? Anyway, let's go. Yep, so we're watching this coming here. So it's here, we're gonna go there, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna drop. It's more of a running flat now. So what we're looking for is what is happening in here, right? If it stays in this level, the chance are it's gonna go back up. If it comes here, we're looking for a sell. So this will become a sell, but you want it to go back up first. You're not selling it at the moment here now because if you sell, well, you can make an assumption that this pullback might be enough. I would like it to probably pull back to this level. And when it pulls back to about this level, we'll be selling here. So we'll be looking for a sell setup. You can put this entry order here, but you don't want it to tag you. The idea is you don't want to tag you because if it tags you now like this, right? It's going to tag you and pull back tag, and then it could do this. Well, depending on where you put your stop. Right? In this case, if it's a running flat, the stop goes above the running flat. That's not we normally trade running flat. So you have to let it prove it's a running flat first, go back up. Can this still go back up totally? Yes, but that would be a different setup, and I'll tell you what we will do when that comes. So right now, we're expecting it to drop. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be the big drop that we were expecting, or this is going to be just another deeper correction, but the sell setup is there. So you can actually look for this to be a sell. Silver. We had silver for a buy yesterday. You remember this is the second buy we took this morning. So yesterday, silver was a buy. If you took it, you should close that trade here, take profit, re-enter it here, and you can put this to break even because we're breaking that down. We put it to break even and we see if it takes off. Two things can happen to silver right now. So if you were following me from the very start, let's say from the first day, remember what we said. We would expect this to come back here, make a running flat, go back up there. Let me use a different color, yellow. Come here, make a running flat, go back up there. Right? That's what we were expecting it to do. So we would get something like this. It actually came lower. And when it came lower, two things you would expect again. And this is where you have to have the knowledge of wave analysis. I mean, an in-depth knowledge of wave analysis, is that this could be a running flat. This could be an expanding flat because we broke the low, go back up, or it could consolidate here and then drop. See, we didn't get a consolidation, so it actually went up. We bought here and we're buying here. There was no buy setup at the bottom here. And if anyone tell you, oh, we would buy at the bottom here because it's going to go up, good luck. Oh, one second, Vic. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me just, 1 second, guys. Let me just. I hope they all move over now. Come on, guys. My traders, you know we're here, right? So let's move here next time. Okay, let's go. So watch this here. We're breaking the top. So when it breaks the top, what happens now, right? What happens at this point? At this point, you're going to think two things, and you should think two things if you're a wave trader. That we have an impulse, we have a correction, and we have an impulse. Can it drop? And the answer is yes, it can drop. Okay, can this continue to go up? And the answer is yes. So if both of those are possible, what do you do? Well, you do what we do. You buy and you put it to break even. You buy here, you take profit, you buy here, you put that to break even now. You can take this profit if you want, but that for me is not the profit I'm looking for. If this continued to go, this is the trade you want. What would be a sell setup? We don't have a sell setup. This thing has to reverse. It has to make a flag here and we'll sell. If it makes another flag here, we'll close the trade and we'll re-enter. Makes another flag here, we'll close the trade, re-enter. Let's go. Simple, right? Gold, we bought gold this morning too, but again, it's only to this stop. So when it comes to this stop, put it to break even. Remember what I told you with gold is up. If this comes down and we don't break that low, we'll be stuck in a big sideways here. There's a very high probability we'll be stuck in a big sideways because the depth of this pullback is telling me that we might, this is not the impulse that is trying to go up because it pulled back really deep. When they pull back very deep, you have to make the assumption that it's making a really big flat there. Now, I'm going to show you some places where they did pull back deep, but it took off, right? We had really deep pullback. Look at this one. We came back all the way to the bottom, almost break the low, but then they took off, right? Now, when you get flags above this top, you start buying. So what we did is we got lucky. We had a flag before they break the top. So we can buy it to break the top and put it to break even. So if this is one of those cases, rare cases, where this takes off, good for us. We'll be in the trade. We are already in the trade. So the worst case scenario for us is that it breaks this top and it starts to turn. We'll close the trade. Or it starts to turn here now, pull back like this, do this, we'll close the trade. We'll close that trade and look for the sell setup. The move to the downside is not going to drop really, really fast. And if you understand pattern, that is kind of rare. So right now we're in the buy. Both of those trades are going good. We looked at the euro and we put the euro for a sell. We're going to pull the sell now of the euro. Right, we will pull that sell because we broke the top, which means we will wait for it to pull back and then go for the buy. This morning, it was making a flag at the bottom here. It was making a flag at the bottom here, and we were like, okay, this flag, if this break, we want the trade. But if this goes back to the top, you want it to come back here, make a running flat, and then we look for that trade. Could it still come here and drop? That's the question. So you would say, why you think this thing is going to go up? Let's say you said, why? Well, it comes here. Why you think it's going to go up? I don't know if it's going to go up. I'm looking at the patterns and assume that, you know what, this is at a very low and it could go up. So here's the thing. I'll put my entry order for a buy here. And when I will allow it to come here first and then put my entry order for a buy for this trade. What if it's dropped? Well, it has to drop beyond this point and give me a correction before I can confirm there's at least one more impulse to the downside. And only then we will take the sell. So right now, we're not putting the entry order as yet, but it's a buy setup. I would really like this to come a little lower. Wait a second. Yeah, it's not low enough. You can put the entry order, but then you have to use a bigger stop. So if you put an entry order here for this trade, let's say it becomes a long drawn out running flat. We did that on the yen. I'll explain that. If you put the entry order here now, you have to keep a stop here. If you wait for it to pull back here and then go, you can use this stop here. If it confirms the running flat, you can use the stop. We're not confirming anything as yet. So this would become a normal buy. Actually, it will be a normal buy. It wouldn't be it will be a normal buy trade because you have a big flat. So now you go to the pound. And pound, we're looking for an extreme sell, and the extreme sell is still valid. You see, we didn't come back to the top here. We're still here. So this sell is still valid. We leave that sell there. We will take it off if this goes higher. Right? If it goes higher, then we'll take off. We did break the low, right? Remember we said in the weekly, we wanted to go and break that low. Breaking that low means that the pattern could be, you can assume that it's finished. That's a criteria for completing that pattern, breaking the low, which it did. So now the question is it gonna go back up or not? Remember the sell we took yesterday to break the low, right? When we took this sell here, I think it was somewhere in here, right? When we took that sell, for this to come and break the low, and then we closed that, and then we took this sell under this one to come and break the low. Well, you'll probably close it here or you'll close it for break even, whichever. It doesn't matter, but you didn't lose in that trade. Now it's actually here, and there's a good chance we'll get a sell setup. Now, if this turns out to be a bigger flat for upside, a bigger flag, this is small. So if this drop is going to go, but if they actually do this and stay here for a while, we'll close the trade. And then we will look for an upside. So if you got tagged and it's stuck there for a while, you don't have to worry about that. So the sell is still valid there. Aussie, we had an entry for a sell, it didn't go. And now we've got a bigger consolidation going on here. That still looks like a sell to me. So we'll put the sell set up here. It looks like a flat in the making. It could be the start of the upside, but that's not how I expect them to start when they're starting a big trade to the upside. So I'm looking at this as a correction for one more down. Break this low. We haven't broken the low. So one more drop possible. Let's see. We'll put this as a sell. We were waiting for it to go back this morning before we put a trade on. So we put that as a sell. New Zealand, it's at a very aggressive place. We can probably put it as aggressive. New Zealand also going back up. We didn't have any trade in New Zealand. Wait until it breaks the stop and put a sell here. We're not buying this as yet, right? Yen, we actually took an aggressive sell on the yen. And the idea is very clear. Let me show you that. The idea is very clear. If it keeps dropping, we want the trade. Why? Because the yen has a tendency of making what we call long drawn out running flats. So it kind of like do this, do this, do this, drop, do this, drop, do this, drop, do this, and then you get something like this, and that becomes your running flat. By then you can put your stop here, you'll be stopped out there, you'll book that profit. When it does this, if it goes higher, start to come back, we'll sell it here or we'll sell it here. Wherever we get it, trade to sell. What if it goes back up, make a running flat from here? What if this goes here, make a running flat like this? Well, if you get a chance to close it somewhere in here, we'll close it. If not, we'll let it go there and then we will stay with this trade. Or if you're not in this trade, you'll put an entry here. This is the impulse. I think that's a running flat. So if you take this trade, you have to keep a stop here, knowing that it could pull back this much, right? Because it did break the low. So if it goes back, we're going to expect it to be a running flat. If not, it's a long extended running flat, which means we're already in the trade. Again, for you to know that, you have to know all the patterns. You have to know all the variations of how they can develop, right? A simple running flat would be this thing going back to the top there. A long drawn out running flat would be doing this, doing this, doing this, and then do this, and then eventually drop. Which means if you're in this trade and you see this, you can put it to break even and leave it if you want that bigger one, or you can close it somewhere here, close it here, put an entry here. There are many options of how you're going to manage the trade, right? Let's go. Swiss. Okay, we also had it this morning early. We had just this correction here. So we put it for that. It actually dropped. We're not looking for the sell. Now we're getting a running flat. So take this off. It's likely going to be a running flat. Swiss on the bigger picture, you can look for two things. The bigger picture is this one. Remember, we were showing you that we're expecting it to make one like this. But when it broke out of the structure, we had this here. And we thought it would come here and then come back here. And then we would look for that buy. Well, it actually went out of the structure yesterday. So we were waiting to see whether this would be a running flat for upside. That didn't happen. It did go back up. It could be the end of the running flat, but that would only be the end of the running flat if we're within the correction still, which means if this is still correction and go back up, right? If not, then you have to wait for that consolidation here to sell. And we didn't get the clear consolidation we're looking for, right? I don't see this as the full consolidation. And on the 15, it looks like, well, we could get a running flat here. Not the perfect one, but you got to move up. You get a flag drop, a sharp drop. If they make a flag here, go back up there. I don't know. We'll decide whether that is still a running flat. Can we look at this as the running flat? Let's say this piece here. We can, but I would be careful of it. Let it drop, make a flag outside of the structure. If it drops, make a flag outside of the structure, we'll sell. If it goes back up, if this goes back up here and make a flag here, we will consider the buy. We'd assume that that is still the big structure, and this is a buy setup for upside. Let's see which one comes first, right? You don't know which one is going to come, so you wait for the setup. Take this out. We don't have anything there. CAD, we don't have anything in the CAD, but it's a correction for upside. This one is almost confirming the correction for upside, right? Because this move, make it back to the top, bro, tag the top, come back down. It could come here, and then we're looking for this straight up. So we don't have a sell setup here, and we don't have a buy setup as yet. We'll wait. Maybe we will get the sell. If it goes back up, make a running flat, we'll go with the sell. So if this goes back up and we see this as a running flat, we'll probably consider this sell to break the low. Take the trade. When it breaks the low, you take the profit. Their stop is above the running flat. Euro yen, nothing. Okay, Euro yen is coming down. We tag the top. It's coming down, so wait for that trade. We're waiting for a sell setup. Let's see if we get it. New Zealand yen, we bought this yesterday, if you remember. We bought it here. We bought it somewhere in here or here to break the top. This was the only one I think we bought. It broke this top as well as this top. We took that off this morning. That one you close for profit, right? That one was close for profit. We bought this flag here yesterday, right? We bought this flag here to break one top here and break the second top there. You close your trade somewhere here, you're good. That's your profit. You took that off. Your stop. I think we had kept the stop somewhere here. I can't remember if we had it here, but we kept the stop somewhere there. Now we're getting a flag here for downside. We broke the top, so any sell setup is good. This is a sell setup right now. You can put it not as an aggressive as a sell now, because on the 1 hour, you already have more. This morning when we put it, we only had one candle or two candles, right? Something like that. Well, now we're getting more. So 2 hour pass, so 2 hour, 2 more candles. Good sell setup. Let's go with that. We're taking this as a sell. All the yen pairs actually have sell setup. We just don't have it. We're waiting for this to give us a good flag. These are making smaller ones. Let's wait for a bigger one. CAD yen. CAD yen is the only one you can put a buy setup on. We're not buying it as yet, but it did break the low here. Now you can put this here and you can put a buy setup. This is the only one that might has a buy setup here. This has a buy because that's a flat. We're going to go with this as a flat for upside. Pong yen. Okay, we're waiting for a flag in this one if we get it. We don't have a flag. It could still be a running flat for one more up. This could be a running flat here for one more up. We need to exclude that. So they're making smaller flags, 1, 2, 3. They're making another one. You could get about 6, 7 of those, but then you're going to get a bigger flag eventually. Eventually, you're going to get a flag that confirms the downside. That is the one you want. That one will really confirm the downside. New Zealand, we're in. Aussie yen. Aussie yen, let's see. It's looking better now. It wasn't that good this morning, right? We had 1, 2, 3. We were looking for the bigger one. I think we might be making it here now. So you want the confirmation. You want this to come back here, probably go back there and then drop. This would be a good trade. We'll go with the sell on the Aussie yen. Aussie yen broke the top too. Remember, we want the Aussie yen to go break the top. If you remember when you joined us Monday, Aussie yen was climbing. It was going up really slow here. And we were like, okay, we will leave it to go break the top. And once it breaks the top, we're looking for the sell because we're looking for this trade down. The trade down you want is going to be this. You have 1, 2, 3. You want it to come back here, do this, and then go back up. Right? So keep your eyes on that. We're looking for all the yen pairs that are a place where they can start to drop. We don't know that they're going to start to drop now, but they can likely do that. So let's see. Keep your eyes on this one. Might be too early to put it in because under 15, it looks like it can go a little more, but I think why not? It's not supposed to tag the low. So you can put the entry under the low and then you'll move it up. Put the entry here. And then if it drops, this is going to drop like this. I think we should drop like that, go back up, and then you can put the entry here for this one. And this will be the trade. Let's see. We're going to put it as a sell, and we'll put this as an aggressive sell for now. Swiss yen. This one is like the CAD yen. It looks more upside than downside. This looks more like a correction for upside if you want the trade. So if you want to buy setup on this, you'd have to put an entry above the top, which is going to be, I think, way above the top, because this is starting to look like a correction in here. See this? We dropped, this one dropped, and it didn't reverse. It actually is consolidating in here. So this could be a consolidation. It might even go out of the structure and come back in. Don't put an entry here, put an entry above the top. So if you're going for the buy, put an entry above the top. If it stays in this consolidation for a very long time, if they stay in this consolidation for a long time, you can consider a sell after that. But right now, this has more of a buy setup. So if we're right about all the yen pairs, this might not break out. If you're wrong about them, they go back pretty much high. They can all vary depending on what the major is doing, right? What the other side of the pair is doing. It's not necessarily yen movement. Euros, wait for a flag and then we consider a sell. We're considering this one could come back to the low. Actually, this is nice right now. You're going to look for a deeper correction. So you drop, wait for this flag, sell it. This would be break even if it doesn't go. You drop, you get a flag, you sell, you can take some profit. So if we get a flag here now, it could drop here, we'll take profit. You don't want to try to sell it here now because it can go back up and then we would look at a possibility for a running flat here. If you want to buy it, you have to put an entry above the top. That is if you still think it's a running flat and it's worth buying at the top of the structure. I don't think it's ever worth buying at the top of a structure. Wait for the pullback. We have divergence. I'll rather look for the sell. But let's wait. If it's going to go back up, wait for the pullback or wait for a flat. Right? If this is the running flat, there are two options of a running flat here, and both are correct. You can either use this or you can use this. Both of them are possible running flats. I don't know which one is correct. One of them is correct. I don't know which one. It doesn't matter. Just wait for the setup. Euro New Zealand. Yeah, I think we're thinking this could be a running flat on the 15 too. Yeah, we're thinking this here could be a running flat. Right, so we're going to put the entry above the top and wait for a flag. So the entry above the top here is worth it because this could be a running flat. Now we'll just wait. Let's wait, see if it goes. If it doesn't go, wait for a flag for the sell. It's an aggressive trade, very much an aggressive trade. Euro New Zealand has big upside. That's why we're doing that. So Euro Swiss, we are still in this correction. Remember, I think we had a sell from this piece coming down here. There was a flag here. We took that flag and went back and we closed the trade here. So if you go into 15, you probably see that. Yeah. See these flags here? We took one of these flags, both of them. We took this one. We closed it, then we took that one and went up and came back and we closed it and it's still going sideways. So you have 1, 2, 3 now. This is coming back like this. If it comes back down like that, it's coming aggressive, more aggressive than I thought it would go, but it's dropping. There's a running flat in here, small flat. So if this comes back here, we will be in this one. I still think this looks like, now this might still be part of another correction. I don't think it will be that. If it goes, I'm pretty sure this would probably go back up, tag the top, drop here like this, give us a flat like that. So this would be more of a correction, right? Give us a flat like that and then go back up. 1, 2, 3, making a much bigger correction before we drop. It is a correction to drop. It's just going to be a very big one, right? See, we're consolidating. So this will be more like an impulse, a 4-hour consolidation here, which means this is going to go back up, come back down, go sideways, go back there, make that, and then we would look for a trade from the top there coming down. From the very top coming down would be the trade. We'll get something like this because you're going to get a 4-hour consolidation. So you get a big consolidation, you're coming to break this low. That trade should be amazing. Hopefully we get it before Friday. I don't think we will. It will be sometime next week. If you're with us sometime next week, you will get it. If you're in the installment program or if you're in the trading room with us, if you join the course, you'll get. So this pretty much we wanted to go back up. We'll see, but it's still in the consolidation. We don't have a sell setup. Let's wait. EuroCAD. Okay, Euro CAD is going up. This looks like a flag for a buy. A few CAD trades look like a buy. Here's the problem with buying that. This bigger pattern still looks pretty good for now. I'm still not changing it to possible. This is the correction. This is the low, that's the reversal, because this is a deep pullback and this one is not conforming total upside as yet. So we stay with the possibility that this is a bigger running flat and that we will come to break the low. So on the 15, you do have a buy setup, right? Here's the question. Where would this buy take you? This was an up move. This was a sharp pullback, but it was a sharp pullback in here too. If you look at it, very small one, but sharp pullback. You got to move up your consolidate. You can buy it here if you want, if that goes, but I don't think it's going very far, right? So if you take the trade, you have to take it with the risk that it might just break this top and come back down. So you have to put an entry here, and it has to be an aggressive buy, which means that once it breaks this top, you have to think of getting it to break even, because it can just break the top and turn. I don't see this with a bigger structure in play. I don't see this going far. If it goes far and it breaks this top, then all buys become safer, less risky. For this buy, that's still a risk. That risk is still open. You can take the trade. Like I said, it's a high risk trade. Nothing's wrong with taking it. Euro pound, let it pull back and we'll get the trade. We're waiting for this to pull back. If it pulls back here, we will take this flat. We're going to take one trade to the top to break that up. And when it breaks that up, well, then we will see. Is it total upside or is it a reversal? That will be a reversal point on the daily. If you break that top, the question is, when we break this top, are we going to reverse and this being a big correction, or would it continue to go? And this big flat here is just a flat for up move. So what you have right now is three, right? You have three waves, pretty much like this. See, 1, 2, 3, and this drop. You have one up, you have a big running flat in the middle. You have one up here. You have 1, 2, 3, that's a big running flat. This one is going up, we'll break the top. So when you break the top, does it drop like this? Or does it just continue to go up? And this becomes 1, 2, and a bigger 3 there. You don't know that. That's the unknown. Here's the thing. When they make such big flat at the bottom here, such big one like this, the chances are you're making a flat for downside. When they want to go up, even this one, I would say was pretty risky because it came back pretty deep. So this was a nice drop. This was a nice impulse. This was a pretty deep one, but this did go and break the top, right? Within that structure, it worked perfect, see? You can go back and you can see the patterns. So you had a very sharp drop here. You get a 1, 2, 3 up. You get a deep correction in the middle here. And you get 1, this whole thing became 1, 2, 3 to the top there. So now you have 1, 2, 3 here, and then you get the next up move, right? It looks very, very easy now when you look at it, right? If you were trading with us in here, that was creating a havoc for you to figure out what the hell is going on. That was really, really, even when all of this starts up, it was only when we came back to this level that we figure out that this could be a correction. And this is 1, 2, 3. And if you have 1, 2, 3 inside of this impulse, you're going to get one more up. And if you get this inside of this impulse, you're going to get one more down. And if you get this inside of the bigger structure, you're going to get one more up. So the same principle applies here. If it breaks this top, it can drop. And the probability for the drop is higher than the probability for the upside, right? Break this low again. And then if all of this is one deep correction, from this bottom here, you can go up. If not, they're going to continue to drop. It doesn't matter what happens at that stage. It matters what happens right here now. So right now we have a buy setup to break the top. Let it come back down, we'll buy it. You're not buying it as it's going right now because you're in trouble. But if it drops here, we'll go with this as a running flat and we'll take that trade out. Let's see. Let's go. Take this off. We're waiting for, this color means you're waiting for a flag. So you're waiting for it to pull back. Okay, we saw this morning, but we're expecting it to pull back first for a running flat. It has to pull back. We don't have a running flat here. I don't see you can make an argument for this being the flat inside here and this being the top of it. It did break the top. It could, maybe we missed that. If that's the case, we missed it. But when we were already here this morning, so I wanted it to go back there, make a perfect flat, and then we'll go with this. That would be the perfect flat. It dropped. Let's see what's bigger trade if we're getting a bigger trade. The bigger trade is downside, right? It should come down back. It's going the way we expect. So if you were following us from Monday, we were somewhere here when we bought this, the upside. And remember I said one impulse, or somewhere here, I think we bought it to the upside, one impulse. Take profit because we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and drop. You're here, you're witness to the magic, right? You can't guess that stuff. There's nowhere you can sit here. I don't care if you're psychic. You can't look at this and said we're only going to this top and then we're going to drop and be right by guessing. Maybe you can guess, okay, it's going to go up now totally. Maybe you can guess this is going to fall. Well, you can't guess it's going to come to this point and fall. You have to be using some other thing to figure that out. And that is called patterns, wave analysis. It has nothing to do with guessing, right? So let's see if we can get a pullback here. If it does pull back, this will be an amazing trade for one more drop. So if this pulls back, we'll go with one more drop to the bottom. And they very often, they pull back, make big flats. So if it pulls back, it gives us a trade. If it makes a flag, we get a trade. Where would that take us? It still has one more deep pullback to do. So we'll wait for it after we finish. Your Punkat. Punkat was a good sell yesterday. I think all of you remember we sold this. We sold it from here. You could have sold it from here and you close your trade somewhere in here. Right? You start to see that cluster there. You close your trade somewhere in, especially after breaking this low. Start to see it cluster. It's not whether we didn't think it's going to reverse. At that point, I'll tell you, I would expect another flag here and another drop. We didn't get a flag. It clustered and it reversed. So now you're at the top here. What is it doing? Let's go to the 4 hour and see what we expect. Nothing. Nothing as yet. This could still go down. You just have to wait for this to either come back here and go back up, or for this to go back a little, make a running flat, and then drop. Can we assume that it is a running flat from where it is right now? Can we take this to be the running flat? I don't like it. I don't like the idea that this here is the running flat. It could be, but I don't like that idea. So if I'm going to take that, I want a really good flag here. I want something bigger. I want something more like, not like this even, a little smaller than that, but something you can trade and not a small one. I would like it to come here. So I would like this pull back and went, and this pull back and went, and this pull back and went. I would like this to go back there now. And if it gets there, that sell would be valid. Now, can we buy it if it's going to go up? Absolutely. Because we're going to get an impulse up, right? We're going to get an impulse like this if that goes up. If you assume they're going to be equal, which is not right, they're not never equal, but you can make that assumption that they would be very similar to equal, right? Let's go with similarity. They're similar. They don't have to be equal, but it'll be close. We're coming back to somewhere here. So if it does go up, we can buy. It's coming down really sharp, so it's hard to think that it's going to go up. But if it goes up, you can put an entry order just above this top. Just above this top here for the buy. Now that is hoping that it goes. Most likely it could be dropping. Wait for another flag here and then sell. So if we get a flag somewhere here, we'll take this off and we look for that sell. Right, then we will know we're no longer going up. So I'll put it as an aggressive buy and we'll go with that. Pound New Zealand. We're getting a sell set up here. You can already see the flat forming here. This would be a smaller version of one here. So this is 1, 2, 3. This goes back up to the top there. Put the entry under the low. This is the trade you're looking for. Keep the entry under the low there, right? If this proves what we think it is, we're going to get a drop, right? If this proves the flat we think we're making there, we're going to get a drop. So keep it under the low for the drop. Where should it go? Well, probably retest this low. We're expecting it to go break the top, right? The idea was that this was going to go break that top and then come back here. Well, there are a few times when they don't break the top, which means you're looking at a contracting flat in play. The possibility is it's going to be like this, and that's a contracting flat. It's not rare. It does happen. Now, what are the chances that this actually come break this low and go back up? That is a little rare because you notice this has one small correction. It doesn't have a big correction like this. But if that happens, when this happens, we'll take break even. On the way up, we'll buy it to retest the top and then downside. So I'm thinking if it is a contracting flat, because we broke out I like the impulse. It's pretty similar, but it's not as big as this one. If this is a contracting flat, you don't want to miss the trade because it's not going to come back up. When you get to this level and it starts to drop, it's going to drop through the low. So you don't want to miss the trade if it's a contracting flat. If it's not a contracting flat, work towards a break even in the trade. All right, that's what we'll do. Work towards a break even in the trade. Palmas, very similar structure. We're already in this one because we took it here. As soon as this actually breaks this low, not right now, the first pullback is not your problem. My trader knows that rule. So when it breaks this low, put it to break even because it can still be upside. Right? This one actually dropped, make a flag, dropped, make a flag, drop, but it's looking like a big flat. The whole thing is looking like a big flat. This could come here and still go back up, right? We don't know that for a fact, but it looks so. So we took the trade and when it breaks this low, we'll get at the break even and we'll see what happens. If that is a big flat, we'll buy. We will take the buy, we'll get a buy somewhere from the bottom or from the breakout. Better to get a buy from the bottom. So can it turn from here? It can, but I don't think this is going to go up. We'll deal with it. If it makes any correction or it stays here too long, close the trade. We wanted to break this low first. That's a trade. Break the low, then go back up. So it might pull back a little. They always pull back. This one pulled back, went up. This pullback went up. Being afraid of the first pullback is not your problem. That's not the, you're not, if you keep being afraid of every candle pullback is a problem, then you have a problem. Aussie news, in any case, you have a stop, which means you're agreed to lose that trade when you took the trade, right? So you don't have to worry. Don't let, the most important thing you have to make sure is that you're not afraid when you're in the trade. If fear is what is driving your trading, you have a problem. That's a huge problem. If you constantly trade with fear, that it's going to come take me out, or it's hunting my stop, or it's anything that makes you scared, anything, oh my God, they're pulling back, they're going for my stop loss. If you live with that fear, you should stop trading, go to demo, relax a little, probably take a break from trading and come back after a while. Come back, join my group, we'll deal with that issue. But you need to relax first. You should not be trading like that. You have to trade with a very calm, logical mind. This is what I see. This is what it's doing. If it doesn't do that, I want to exit the trade here. If I get to exit the trade for break even, great. If not, this is my dead stop loss. Most times you're going to get out for break even if you don't like the trade. But without fear, with a logical understanding that the patterns are changing. And you need to get the hell out. Aussie Cat, you see us do it here every day. So it's not a big deal. It's not just telling you, it's showing you how we do it. We don't have any trade here, right? We'll just have to leave it. Let's wait. Aussie Swiss. We were in this sell yesterday. If you remember, we took the sell here first. We closed it for break even. Remember, I keep telling you, if the trade doesn't go, we close it. We close it for break even. You would re-enter the trade here. Basically, right? We re-enter that trade here. You could have, my trader could have entered a little higher, but I'm not going to do that because I wasn't there. I don't know whether they did it. Some of them might have done it taking the trade from here. That would be the perfect place to take it. If not, this is a good one. This trade dropped nice, and the 1 hour, this was just a single pullback like we're getting now on the which one? We're in one that we're getting that single pullback. I don't know which one. I'll tell you, don't worry about it. We don't worry about that single pullback. See how it dropped? It started pullback. This is where you start to worry. So this morning, I told them, you can still keep the trade if you're in it. If you close the trade at the bottom here, you did well. Somewhere here, you realize it's not going. It dropped, it pulled back, it started to do this. You close the trade here, you took that profit, that's okay. I'm all for that. But if you didn't close the trade and you're still in, put it to break even now. You wait for the pullback and then you put the break even. So on an hourly, that was a single pullback. Put it to break even now because it's not supposed to go back up. Now it has to drop. So what if you're not in the trade? If you're not in the trade, this is your entry. You got an entry here. You got to pull back. That's your trade, right? That's a 15-minute flag. See, that's an entire 15-minute flag you're looking at. So if it breaks the low, take the trade. Where would this take you? Let's see. We're breaking out of a bigger structure. You're breaking out of this structure. You're coming to break this low. We're coming to break that low and go lower. So from here to there, that's a good trade. Put it on the 1 hour. Where would your stop be? Stop would be above the last impulse, which is going to be here. So this is your stop. This is your entry. And your target is at the bottom. Breaking through this low. Breaking through the low. That's your target. Now, could you close the trade 1 or 2 times before that? Absolutely. This is not our first trade in that down move. Our first trade in that down move started here in this one. Down, right? As the first trade, you can assume that that trade got closed somewhere here. I don't remember where we got another trade or if we took another one, but somewhere I think we might have taken one here or a little earlier here, right? Which means that closed. This one was a trade closed. This is a trade closed. This is another trade. So it's not dropping. The idea is that some of these will drop really fast. And those are perfect. Those are the ideal trades. When they're not dropping fast, you have to deal with it. New Zealand CAD. We're getting a sell setup here. We put it here, but you can actually take it here, right? Now be careful with this sell setup. That's a very aggressive trade because it can just come here and then go right back up. Now the question is, do you want it there or do you want to be safe? If you want to be safe, you have to put it here. That's a 1 hour structure. If you're a little more aggressive, you can put it there, assuming that this is over and it's going to drop through the bottom, right? That's a possibility. 2 possibilities: drop through the bottom like this, or it comes here, tag you, go back up there, make a new high here, and then drop. So if that is going to happen and you take this trade inside here, your stop has to be here. If you want to wait for the trade to break this low before it goes or wait for another flag, your stop could be here. Right? It's just the difference of where you put the stop. I have a question on that from one of my traders. I think at the end of this session, we'll answer it. And he made a very good comment on trades and entry and bigger stop, and I'll explain that at the end. Let's go. New Zealand Swiss. We took this and we closed it already. I think we had it from here and we closed it in this one. And then, I don't know if we were waiting for a pullback this morning. Let's see if we get the pullback I was waiting for. Not exactly the one I was waiting for. We wanted this to pull back higher, maybe to this level for this 1, 2, 3 running flat. And then we'll go with 1, 2, 3 running. But could it be that this is the running flat? It could be that that is all. 1, 2, 3 running flat. Wait for a flag. If you get a flag, take the trade. I think we broke the low. We just broke this low. It doesn't mean anything. If you get a flag under that small 50-minute flag, after that, take the trade. CAD Swiss. We're in the sell. We got tagged in the sell. It dropped. So the CAD Swiss trade is this one. We got a correction here. We took it under this one, so you got tagged. It went back. It's coming down back. I think this might be the time where we close. If it tag you once, go back up there and come down. You close the trade. So this one pulls back a little into there. Close the trade. If you want to re-enter, put an entry under the low. So I'm going to allow you to let it come here first, so you take break even, and then you're going to re-enter with a trade under the low. It's still a valid trade for downside, right? So you have to be under that low now. Close that for break even, go under the low. If they break through that, we're coming to this level. Don't stay with the trade. If they're going to reverse, this is the reversal point, right? See, this is where it can start to reverse if it wants. We already fulfilled, we already fulfilled this pattern. It went up once, come back down, that's it. You have to get the hell out of the trade, right? So we'll put this sell, but we'll put this sell here now. Let's see if you can get it to come back to break even. You might just get one more pullback to this level, close it. How much pips is this? It's just a few pips, if anything. Yeah, that's 2 pips. Close the trade if you want. It's not a big deal, right? Because you don't, the stop for this trade was above this stop here, but we are going for the really big one. You don't have to stay with it. We wait for either this breakthrough now or another flag. Let's go. So we'll take this off and we're putting the entry under the low, which is a valid entry. Natural gas, let's see what did this. Nothing, it's going sideways, stay away from it. UK oil. So UK oil, this sell was there yesterday. If all of you follow me with this one, when it pulled back, you put that entry. That trade you would close somewhere here, somewhere in here, in this one here, right? You would close that trade somewhere in here. When you see this consolidation, you close that trade. So this would be the profit you book, and now you're putting a buy setup. The buy setup is only valid if it stays where it is. Let me explain this again to some of you, especially if you're not my traders. It's only valid if this flat stays right here. If this flat comes lower here, we will take this off. We'll wait for it to go back up, and we'll put a sell here like we did yesterday. We weren't buying this. We'll wait for it to go back up, and then we'll look at this as a flat, and then you go with the next sell here for downside. So that stays there if it goes right now. Literally, it has to go now. If it keeps coming down, that's it. We'll have to wait for it to come down, wait for it to go back up, and the same thing here. See, that was your sell there yesterday. This here is the buy setup, but it's only valid if it stays there. If it comes lower into the bottom, we take it off. We're looking for a flat for downside. I believe it can come down, but we still put it. We said, well, why not? What if it goes up? What if this just spikes way back to the top? What if this thing just do this? Do you want to trade? Yes, we want to trade. So we'll put the entry. If it does this, what do you do? I think my traders know you're heading for break even. It will stop and it will start to do this, and you're like, okay, close the trade. This, we want this if that happens suddenly. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I've seen it happen. So when we get this set up, we take the trade. S&P 500. Yep, this one didn't tag. They didn't break out. Instead, they go back up. So remember I said I thought they would probably break out first and then go back up, right? Well, they didn't break out. They just make a flat here and they went up back. So we got 1, 2, 3, we got 1. Is that equal? I think it's equal. So you had 1, 2, 3. You go back there. Now this can drop. Now it actually broke the top, guys. So this morning we were waiting on this because it was in here this morning. And we knew this was going to go up, but we didn't buy it because we know that we're looking at a possible running flat. This would not give you a trade. So now you break the top and you're coming down. Perfect. So this is coming down here. Any flag under this low is a sell setup. That will take a while. New York, we might get an amazing sell here. So focused on that sell for New York session. We will take this entry order from here and we're going to put it here. So this was a good sell. This would be an amazing sell if that works. Right? If this is a running flat as we think, I'm not putting that entry order there as yet. We don't even have a 5 minutes flag, right? So don't put that entry order there. I'm just telling you where we would do it when it makes that flag. Right? So we wait for a 15 minutes flag here. And then we're going to put the entry order. It looks like we might be starting a 15-minute one. If we do, that would be great. We'll put an entry there. And that will be waiting for a sell setup. NASDAQ, we sold this. We sold it a little early, but my traders, you should have taken it off. Remember why we sold it, not for this to go up. We sold it for this flag to drop. So when that go up, you should have taken this off. Don't keep it. It's here now. Wait for the flag here now. So you take it off and you wait for the flag. If you're in the trade, you might want, if you don't have enough to put it to break even. If you could have put in the break even, put it. If not, wait for a flag. So wait for a flag. We're waiting for a flag here. It could be an expanding flat that still goes up, right? I don't want to go into all the details, but you guys should know when I said take it off, because this could still be an expanding flat that goes back up. And if you stay with that trade and it does this, well, you're taking out right there, right? That's where your stop should be. Anyway, let's go. So NASDAQ, what we have, same thing, wait for a flag. And this one. They'll make a flag before New York. We also sold this, but the same reason. We also sold this here, but the same reason. So you'd have to take it off. All these didn't break out yesterday, right? So it's okay, take them off. Wait for a flag. This was a nice sell, take that off too. So the magic works, right? Remember I said, watch this, is gonna drop one and then it's gonna go back like this. And that happened way before this happened and way before this happened. You can't guess that stuff. I mean, come on. You can't guess that stuff, that this is what you're expecting to happen. That's almost close. Even, it doesn't matter what happens after this. The mere fact that you're looking at this and you're saying it's gonna come here and go back there, that's enough to tell you that there's something that makes you make that pattern, that makes you understand why it's gonna do that, right? Because even if this is a drop, it was one drop and it's gonna go back up for the running flat. We got a running flat. Let's see if we get a trade. Let's see if it proves the running flat correct. I think we're gonna prove it correct. Because remember that the big move is to the downside. We're expecting this to drop to break this level, right? So if we get this trade this afternoon, that would be amazing. Anywhere you get a flag coming down would be perfect. You don't have to get a flag where it is. I don't care if we don't get the flag where it is. As a matter of fact, let's put it this way. If I'm wrong about that, let's say I'm wrong about all of this, and this is the low and we are trying to go back up, this would become an expanding flat. We'll put an entry above the top, New York session come. How far it can go? It can actually do this. The reason we're pulling it, that we're pulling the entry is it can easily do this and still drop. And this would still be perfect. We will still get that trade. See, that would still be a perfect running flat. It's still going to likely go down. So if we get a flag, we'll take the trade. Let's see, wait for a flag. If you don't get a flag, take the trade under the low. That's also an option on a big running flat like this, but then you'll go with a much bigger trade. You will have to keep the trade until it breaks this low, which means you'll put it to break even and stay with it. Okay, we didn't identify any other trades. We didn't look at the cryptos this morning. It's a waste of time to look at them. Bitcoin is pulling back, but that doesn't mean anything as yet, right? There's only one thing you can look at in Bitcoin. Let me give you, and this is how you look at wave analysis. Now, we're expecting this to go down because this looks very corrective. Is there any pattern that you know that could make this thing go back up and still be correct? So if you pull this across here, and you look at this pattern now as a one impulse up, an impulse down, right? All of this up here is a correction and an impulse down here. So you have 1, 2, 3, and that makes an expanding flat. Good, I think somebody got it. One person did mention it, and this literally goes back up, at least to break that up. And maybe still drop again, but could totally take off because this is an absolute low, right? In the correction coming down, that's the lowest point. So here's what you can do here now. And this is where trading becomes interesting. Wave analysis is amazing. You can't help but think how amazing this is. Wait for a flag here. And if you get a flag here, if this stays as a flag without dropping lower, if it stays as a flag in this level, which means it doesn't go lower than this, right? It stays here. You can put an entry order here, put a stop here, and let this go. It's going to do that. When it do that, put this at break even because it can do that and drop. But if it does that and make a flag here and continue to go, you're good to go. See? This is the amazing thing about wave analysis. And this is why doing it all by yourself alone could be difficult. If you're in a group of traders who said, hey, can we look at that as an expanding flat? You'd say, you know what? Yeah, it could possibly be. So what are the criteria? Well, what is the confirmation for the buy? Here is where you're waiting for that confirmation. And if that happens, take the trade. It doesn't prove that it's going to go up because this contract, this a big expanding flat is a little, honestly, it's a little far stretched, but it's possible. That is a possibility. Right? I honestly believe we're going to break the low and then go back up. I think we're just making a bigger correction here, that this is going to probably work its way down here. Like the yen did, it's going to work its way down here, go back there, make a flat, and then boom, drop. Break the low. This is where you start. Any flat like that you get here, with a small flag, you have your entry ready for the upside. Anywhere. But you can start from here. ETH, this doesn't have the same structure. You can literally see that. This is just making a bigger flat for downside. So this might give us the idea that now they're going to go down. This one broke, go back up, but also it's not, it doesn't have the similar structure. So this would likely still drop. This here broke, come back up. Again, I don't think this is going up. I still think this is going to drop. This looks more corrective than anything. This whole big structure there looks very big, like the huge correction. It doesn't even look like the impulse to the downside. It just looks like one huge correction is happening. It's kind of this whole piece here. If you pull it from here, this whole piece looks like one big corrective structure forming, that it might be more like this, something like this going on there. Kind of move up, a move down, a move up, a move down slowly. Could be, I don't think it's a channel though. I believe this one ended here. See, this is the drop and this is not going up. That's definitely not going up. So we wait. Let's wait and see where this takes us. It's definitely breaking out of this structure here. We're not going up from this point. So we're breaking out. Let's see if they drop. I think it's going to break the low, then go back up. This definitely dropping. This one is already dropping. You can see this here. And that kind of already dropping to the downside. Let's see what this is doing. Break the low. Let it break the low first. This doesn't have that big expanding flat pattern too. And let's see this one. Idea. No, not going anywhere. Looks like we're going to trip, break the low. This is going back up, but it's still within the correction. This is still pretty much within that corrective structure. It's not, it hasn't changed to the upside. AMP. Okay, this is the one you want to keep your eyes on if it doesn't collapse totally, right? If we get a flag, we can buy, but this thing has been dropping really, really low. So this, you know, looks like it's going to collapse at any time. So this is making a flag here. They pull back pretty deep. It's not a upside structure as yet. This also dropped. We tagged the low. We didn't break it, we tag it. So if you pull this across here now, there's a possibility we can look at this like that, right? It doesn't have to go lower from that point. And you can make an argument for a 1, a 2, and a 3 here, which means this could go back up very sharp like this to complete this pattern. Because we broke the low, we broke this low, and that is the low we want to break, right? It could go lower than that. Nobody says it can go lower, but this is what you're looking at now. 1, 2, 3. So there's a good chance that it could turn or it could go lower. If you get a flag here, look for a buy. If it makes a flag and stays there, we can buy it. Go back to the 1 hour. If this flag stays where it is, you can put a buy setup here. So we have 2 of them with buy setups, this one. So we'll put this a possible buy, aggressive buy, and we'll put Bitcoin for an aggressive buy. Aggressive means they have to stay. If they come lower, you take it off. We're in the 15, we're in the lower time frame looking at that. I think that's about it, basically. This is the same thing. This one actually went up. And this one, if you wanted to buy it, you have to wait for this flag to break that up. We took the first flag and we closed it. It didn't go. There was a flag before that we closed. So if this makes a flag here, you can buy here, but only to break this top. Right? It's not literally taking off like a rocket. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. I don't think. I was looking whether this is the next leading expanding diagonal, but it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look at it like this, for example, not this piece here. You can go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. This is a deep pullback, so that's not conforming much. Can we put it like this then? Probably like this here for this one, this bigger flat here, for example. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that is so, then you need a big flat here. Here's what you need. If this is a leading diagonal going up, expanding leading diagonal, that is something like this. Then you need 1, you need this to be 2, you need it to come back here for 3. And then this, anytime you get 1 here, you're buying. Stick around, let's see if that happens by Friday, right? It can come back here, and if it goes there and make a flag, we're buying. Because that would confirm this is the leading diagonal, the big flat, and then go. It has to confirm a big flag for upside. And this could literally go because this is the low. Let's see in the weekly. Nope, we're not. Yeah, we're the low, sorry. Yeah, we're the low. We actually broke even all of this. We need to break these 2. We need to break those 2 and we broke them. So we have this move down. This one is actually nice, I like it. We have this move down. We have 1, 2, 3. We have a flat there. We make an impulse down here. We broke these 2 low. If this is a leading diagonal, this trade could go back up all the way back to the top. So you would get 1, 2, 3. You can get back to that level, which is 22. From where? From 1.6, from 1.7. Let's go back to the 1 hour and see from what price we're going to get it. We will either get it above here, which is 1.9, or we can get it from below here, which means this has to drop lower. This has to drop lower than these 2. Make a flat, and we could get it from somewhere here. 1.5, 1.6. If we get it somewhere there to go to 22, that's good. That's almost more than 10 times, right? So this would be worth buying. Keep your eyes on it, stick around with us. You might be able to get, and the up moves are very sharp. You can see that, right? Is it possible to take a view for Nicola's stock? Okay, we'll do that last and then we'll close the room, right? So if you guys don't mind, let me do that very quick. What are the symbols? Do I just write Nicola's stock? NKLA, okay. Nikola Corporation, we go with that one. Okay. Let's take a weekly. It's dropping, but it's kind of slowing down. Oh, you actually, I don't know where this come from. This where is the starting point? That's all you have? This came from lower, right? I'd assume. Okay, well, it's probably going to go back up. You know, if it doesn't collapse totally, if it doesn't bankrupt itself, it's going to go back up at some point. So what I would advise you to do, you see these little spikes up? Like if you take this one and it goes there and you want to keep it for the longer term trade, you put it to break even. So this would be a break even trade. If you took this and it goes up like this, put it to break even. That would be a break even trade. If you took this here and it go there, put it to break even, it come back. So when this break below, it go back up there and they do this, put an entry here. When they do this, if they drop again, you'll be in break even. But if this takes off, you'll be good. So you can do that on a lower time frame. I'm showing you the weekly. You don't need the weekly to do that. You need the daily or the 4 hour to do that. So you can go to the 4 hour. All those impulses to the upside had a flag before they go, you see? All of them had an entry above this top here for that thing. If you were looking at this, you buy this one here or this one here. It goes there, you do that. Right? And then the same thing here. This complex running flat, which, okay, question. Thank you for liking the room and all of that. Please share the videos. That's the most important thing. Can you please take a look at this chart? Do you consider this complex running flat? So, okay, wait, let's finish this. Wait for it to break. On the way up, you see a flag like this, buy, put it to, you let it go up first, pull back a little, then put it to break even. You want a spike like that to put to break even. It's gonna break the low and make that spike. Put it to break even and then leave it. Let's see this chart. What is it? This is which chart? Ethereum. You have to look at the bigger picture. Within this piece here, yes, that is possible, what you have there. But on the bigger picture, you'll have to look at it. Don't look at a little piece isolated, especially in the cryptos. Because if it's coming from here, then this would definitely drop. If this is the absolute low, this could go up. So both are correct depending on what is in front of it. Let's see what you have there. Do you consider this complex chart with it? By the way, divergence, detection. You don't need the divergence, you don't need to detect. It's pretty easy. That's a little extra work for no necessary thing. Divergence is easy. You just look at the chart, you can see it. Right? This is divergence. You look at the chart, it's very easy. If you can see divergence. If you see this, and if you see this, you have divergence. It's that simple, right? Keep it simple. Don't complicate your life. Just keep it that simple. There's no need to have a tool for that. I don't need a tool to show me divergence. I don't care what tool I use. If I don't see divergence, it's not there. And anything that tells you divergence is there when you don't see it, believe what you see. Silver 15-minute flag. It's nice to have it, but it's pretty much unnecessary. We don't even use divergence except for the momentum. Let's put it this way. You don't need divergence urgently. No one needs a divergence urgently. You're going to set yourself up for trouble. You need divergence in a slow mode. You need to wait, take your time, and be confirmed that there is divergence there. And then confirm that actually the divergence is a reversal or a correction, because you can get divergence and they can still drop, and keep dropping. And look how long we have divergence here. This actually is a perfect example. Look from where divergence on this chart started. See? This point. That was this drop here. When the price was here, and this one, you saw divergence. See? Then it dropped again, you have divergence. Then it dropped again, you have divergence. And you still have divergence. We still have divergence all the way. See that? Do not use divergence for trading. That's not what it's used for. Divergence is telling us momentum to the downside is dying out. And you can see that momentum is dying out. So what you look for is when you're going to get this move out. Every drop that makes a new low is a possibility. If you use it and you trade it correctly, understanding what to do. I actually like this. I personally like this. Very soon you're going to get a reversal. Very, very soon the reversal is coming. Like I said, unless it collapses. But if you follow the impulse correction strategy, if it collapses, you will get out before it collapses. Let's see, next question. Silver 15 minute, let me see on the silver quick 15 minute, and then we'll take the next question. There's one after that. I answer all the questions. So says 15-minute flag for what? Sell, buy, you want to sell it for the sell? No, a little too early. You're thinking about this one, that is a little too early. For my traders, now you may want to put it to break even because we broke the top. It came down a little, it pulled back, put it to break even. So this trade should be a break even right now, right? Because if this drop, we'll wait for another flag here and then we'll sell it. This is too small and too early. I don't see the flag there as yet. I follow what you're saying though. It's not there. When you take a trade, how do you confirm it's not going before closing or break even? Oh, every trade is individual, depending on the 1 hour, depending on the 15 minute, depending on what pattern we are looking at, whether it fulfills, like this trade here. See, it fulfilled that pattern. It's pulling back. That is telling me, you know what, maybe we're going to drop. It's not going to be the one that goes higher, but you don't have to close the trade like this. It dropped, it pulled back a little, put it to break even. We don't have a sell set up here as yet. I'm not selling in the 5 minutes or the 3 minutes, and we don't have, even 5 minutes flag is not there. When it makes a 15 minutes flag, we'll close this for break even and then we'll sell it. Can it still go up? Well, what if it goes up? You'll still be okay because you have it at break even now, right? So like I said, there's a series of rules for every individual trade that we look at what is happening at any trade given moment. That's a lot to tell you here. Please, sir, can you look at Pong CAD, Pong Yen? I came in late. Pong CAD, Pong Yen. Okay. Pong Yen, we didn't have any setup. We're waiting for a flag before we sell. Not these small ones. We're waiting for a bigger flag for the sell. I want this to actually make something like this. And then we'll consider a sell. For Pong CAD, let's go. Where's Pong CAD? Oh, Pong CAD is at the bottom here. I think we're already in a sell. Ah, no, we're waiting for an aggressive buy. Sorry. This is a long one. We're waiting to see whether this is going to come here and then it's going to go down back, right? So we're trying to catch that aggressive trade up for that running flat. If it happens, that's a short trade, very quick in and out. I don't know if you want to be careful of taking any trade like this. I'm not making a trade call. I'm telling you what we're doing in our group. And I'd warn you about taking it because it might not get there and you'll have to get out way before it starts. Before it hits that target and start to drop. And if you have to do that, you have to understand how to manage it, right? So, okay, guys, thank you for coming. I was expecting more of you. So I hope you can share the link and get more people in. If you find it interesting, if you think it's helping you in any way, let people on YouTube know that it's helping you. Yeah, tell them you're not a member of the group, but if you find it interesting, what you find interesting, tell them what you actually find interesting. Leave a comment. Thank you very much. All right, so you can go straight to YouTube now, watch the ones you missed, and leave a comment. Take care. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.